The airport terminal buzzed like a hornet's nest, a chaotic symphony of rolling suitcases and frantic announcements. But my sister's scream sliced through it all. "It wasn't me, Emma. You're always trying to ruin my life." Her words, sharp as a blade, pinned the blame on me as a stranger's wallet dangled from her trembling hand. I stood frozen, my heart pounding in my chest. The man whose wallet she'd snatched, a hairy businessman in his 40s with a crumpled suit and wild eyes, glared at us both, his voice rising over the crowd. "One of you better explain this now, or I'm calling security." This wasn't how I imagined our family trip to Paris starting. I'm Emma, 28, the responsible older sister who always cleaned up after Lily, my 22-year-old firecracker of a sibling. She was charming, reckless, and perpetually teetering on the edge of trouble. Our parents, exhausted from decades of balancing her chaos with my caution, had begged for this trip to be a fresh start, a chance to heal old wounds. But here we were, minutes from boarding, and Lily had already turned it into a disaster. It started innocently enough. We were at JFK, weaving through the crowded terminal to catch our flight. Lily, as usual, was distracted, her phone glued to her hand as she scrolled through social media, oblivious to the world. I was juggling our boarding passes and keeping an eye on our parents, who were trailing behind, when I noticed her linger near a bench. A man had left his wallet there, black leather peeking out from under a newspaper. I thought nothing of it, until I saw her hand dart out, quick as a cat, and slip it into her purse. "Lily," I hissed, grabbing her arm. "What are you doing?" She yanked away, her blue eyes flashing with defiance. "Relax, Emma. He left it there. Finders, keepers. That's stealing," I whispered, my voice tight with panic. "Put it back now." But she didn't. Instead, she shoved the wallet deeper into her purse and stormed off toward the gate. I chased after her, my mind racing. This wasn't just a childish prank. Lily was 22, not 12. Stealing could land her in real trouble, and I wasn't about to let her drag our family down with her. Not again. By the time I caught up, the businessman was back, patting his pockets frantically. "My wallet. Where's my damn wallet?" His eyes locked on Lily, who was now standing near our gate, her face a mask of innocence. I knew that look. She was about to lie her way out of this. "It wasn't me," she blurted before he even asked. "I saw Emma near your bench. She probably took it." My jaw dropped. The crowd around us turned, their stares pinning me like a spotlight. My parents, who had just caught up, froze, their faces a mix of confusion and dread. "Emma." Mom's voice was small, uncertain. Dad just shook his head, his silence louder than any words. "Lily, stop it," I said, my voice shaking. "You know that's not true." But she doubled down, her voice rising to a theatrical pitch. "Why are you always blaming me? You're so jealous, Emma. You can't stand that I'm having fun." The businessman didn't care about our family drama. He stepped closer, his face red with fury. "One of you has my wallet. Hand it over, or I'm getting the cops involved." I felt the weight of every eye in the terminal. My pulse thundered in my ears, and for a moment, I couldn't breathe. Lily had done this before, lied, deflected, left me to clean up her mess. But this was different. This was public, humiliating, and could ruin everything. Our parents' dream trip, my reputation, our fragile family bond. It was all unraveling. I turned to Lily, my voice low but firm. "Give it back. Now." Her lips parted, ready to protest, but something in my eyes stopped her. She hesitated, then pulled the wallet from her purse and tossed it at the man like it was nothing. "Fine. Happy now." The businessman snatched it, checking its contents with a scowl. "You're lucky I'm not pressing charges," he muttered, then stormed off, leaving us in a suffocating silence. Mom's voice broke it. "Lily, how could you?" Her eyes were wet, her hands trembling. Dad just looked away, his disappointment a heavy weight. Lily shrugged, flipping her blonde hair. "It's not a big deal. You're all overreacting." But it was a big deal. It was the final straw. For years, I'd covered for her, her lies, her tantrums, her reckless choices. I'd smoothed things over with teachers, friends, even the police once when she borrowed a neighbor's car without asking. But this? Blaming me for her theft in front of strangers, our parents, the world? It was too much. As we stood there, the boarding call for our flight crackled over the speakers. I glanced at my phone, where our digital boarding passes were saved. Lily's was there, tied to my account. An idea sparked, sharp and dangerous. She didn't deserve this trip. She didn't deserve to waltz through Paris like nothing happened while I carried the weight of her mistakes. I opened the airline app, my fingers trembling as I navigated to her ticket. One tap, and I could cancel it. One tap, and she'd be stuck here, forced to face the consequences of her actions for once. "Emma, let's go," Dad said, his voice tired. "We need to board." I looked at Lily, her smug expression daring me to let it go. But I was done. "Not yet," I said, my voice steady now. I tapped the screen. Lily's smug grin faltered as the gate agent scanned her boarding pass and frowned. "I'm sorry, miss, but your ticket's been canceled," the agent said, her voice clipped. The terminal seemed to hold its breath as Lily's eyes widened, darting to me. "What do you mean, canceled?" she snapped, her voice pitching higher. "That's impossible. Emma, fix this." I stood there, arms crossed, my heart a strange mix of guilt and resolve. The gate agent glanced at me, then back at Lily. "You'll need to speak with customer service at the main desk," she said, already waving the next passenger forward. Mom gasped, clutching Dad's arm. "Emma, what's going on?" she whispered, her eyes searching mine for answers. Dad's brow furrowed, but he said nothing, his silence a familiar shield. Lily whirled on me, her face flushed with fury. "You did this, didn't you? You canceled my ticket." Her accusation rang out, drawing curious glances from nearby travelers. For once, I didn't flinch under the weight of her words. "Yes," I said, my voice calm but unyielding. "I did." The truth hung between us like a storm cloud. Lily's mouth opened, then closed, her usual quick wit failing her. For the first time, she looked small, caught in the web of her own lies. I didn't feel triumphant. My chest ached with the weight of what I'd done, but I wasn't backing down. "Why would you do that?" Mom's voice cracked, her hand reaching for me, but stopping short. "Emma, this was supposed to be our family trip." "Exactly," I said, turning to her. "A family trip, not a chance for Lily to ruin everything and blame me for it. She stole that man's wallet, Mom. She lied and threw me under the bus. I'm done covering for her." Dad finally spoke, his voice low and gravelly. "Emma, this isn't the way. We could have talked about it." "Talk?" I laughed, the sound bitter. "When has talking ever worked with her? She's been doing this for years. Lying, stealing, manipulating, and you both let her. I'm not her scapegoat anymore." Lily's eyes glistened, but I couldn't tell if it was anger or tears. "You're so perfect, aren't you?" she spat. "Always the good one. Always making me look bad. You're just jealous because I'm not boring like you." Her words stung, but they didn't cut as deep as they used to. I saw her now, not just as my little sister, but as someone who'd learned she could get away with anything if she played the victim. I loved her, but love didn't mean letting her destroy me. The gate agent cleared her throat. "Folks, you need to board now or step aside." Mom looked torn, her eyes flicking between me and Lily. "We can't just leave her here," she said, her voice trembling. "Then stay," I said, surprising myself with how steady I sounded. "But I'm going. I'm done letting her ruin everything." I grabbed my carry-on and started toward the gate, my heart hammering. Part of me screamed to turn back, to fix this, to be the good sister who always made things right. But another part, the part that had spent years swallowing resentment, urged me forward. "Emma, wait." Dad called, but I kept walking. The boarding pass scanned with a beep, and I stepped onto the jetway, the cool air a sharp contrast to the heat in my chest. I didn't look back. On the plane, I sank into my seat, my mind replaying the scene. Had I gone too far? Canceling Lily's ticket wasn't just punishment. It was a line in the sand. I'd spent my life protecting her, shielding her from consequences, but this time, I'd chosen myself. It felt foreign, almost wrong, but also like a weight lifting. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "We're staying with Lily to sort this out. We'll catch a later flight. Please call when you land." Guilt twisted in my gut, but I didn't reply. Not yet. The plane took off. And as New York shrank beneath me, I thought about the years of Lily's chaos, shoplifting as a teen, crashing my car and blaming a friend, spreading rumors when I got the promotion she wanted. Each time, I'd forgiven her, cleaned up her mess, kept the peace. But peace at what cost? Paris was supposed to be a fresh start, a chance to rebuild our fractured family. Instead, it was forcing us to face the truth. Love wasn't enough without accountability. Lily needed to learn that, and maybe I did too. As the flight attendants dimmed the cabin lights, I leaned back, staring at the clouds. For the first time in years, I felt a flicker of freedom. But freedom came with a price, and I wasn't sure I was ready to pay it. Paris greeted me with a golden sunrise, the city sparkling like a promise I wasn't sure I could keep. I stepped off the plane, alone, my phone heavy with unread messages from Mom and Dad. The weight of what I'd done, canceling Lily's ticket, leaving my family behind, pressed against my chest, but I pushed it down and hailed a taxi to the hotel. The hotel was a quaint, ivy-covered building near the Seine, its charm lost on me as I checked in. The clerk handed me the key to the suite I was supposed to share with Lily, and the emptiness of it hit me hard. I dropped my bag and sank onto the bed, staring at the ceiling. What now? My phone buzzed again. Mom's latest text, Lily's a mess. She's sorry, Emma. Please call. I didn't. Instead, I opened my laptop and started scrolling through the airline app, half expecting to see Lily's ticket magically reinstated. It wasn't. The finality of my choice stared back at me, cold and unyielding. I wandered out into Paris, hoping the city's beauty would quiet my mind. The streets were alive with couples laughing, artists sketching, and the scent of fresh croissants. But every step felt like a betrayal. Was I really here, living the dream trip, while my family was stuck in New York, cleaning up Lily's mess? By noon, I found myself at a cafe, sipping espresso and watching the world go by. That's when my phone rang, Dad. I almost let it go to voicemail, but guilt won out. Emma, he said, his voice heavy. We're still at JFK. Lily's been crying nonstop. She says she didn't mean to blame you. I gripped the phone, my jaw tight. She always says that, Dad. And then she does it again. I know, he sighed. But she's your sister. We're family. You can't just cut her off like this. Can't I? The words slipped out before I could stop them. I've spent my life fixing her mistakes. I'm tired, Dad. I deserve this trip as much as anyone. There was a long pause. You're right, he said finally. But this isn't just about you and Lily. It's about all of us. Your mom's heartbroken. She thinks she failed you both. The words hit like a punch. Mom, with her endless patience and quiet strength, didn't deserve this. But neither did I. I'm sorry, I said, my voice cracking. But I needed to do this. For me. Dad didn't argue. We're booking a flight for tomorrow. Lily's coming, but we need to talk when we get there. All of us. I nodded, though he couldn't see me. Okay, I'll see you then. Hanging up, I felt the weight of his words. Family wasn't something you could escape, no matter how far you flew. But what did family mean when one person's actions kept tearing it apart? That evening, I walked along the Seine, the Eiffel Tower glowing in the distance. Paris was everything I dreamed of, but it felt hollow without my family. I thought about Lily, her impulsive streak, her charm, her ability to make you love her even when you wanted to scream. She wasn't a bad person, just a lost one. And I wasn't sure if I'd helped her find her way or pushed her further off course. Back at the hotel, I opened my laptop again, staring at the airline app. I could book Lily a new ticket, smooth things over, be the good sister again. But the thought made my stomach churn. Instead, I typed a message to Mom. I'm sorry for leaving. I needed to stand up for myself. Let's talk when you get here. I hit send before I could second guess it. Sleep came fitfully, haunted by Lily's accusing eyes and Mom's trembling voice. The next morning, I woke to a text from Dad. We land at 3 p.m. Meet us at the airport. My heart lifted, then sank. They were coming, but what would I find when they arrived? An apology? More blame? Or something else entirely? I spent the morning exploring Montmartre, trying to lose myself in the cobblestone streets and vibrant murals. But my mind kept drifting back to Lily. Why did she steal that wallet? Was it a thrill, a cry for attention, or something deeper? And why did I feel like the villain for finally saying enough? By 2 p.m., I was back at Charles de Gaulle Airport, my nerves frayed. The arrivals board flashed their flight number, and I braced myself. This wasn't just a reunion, it was a reckoning. The arrivals hall at Charles de Gaulle was a sea of weary travelers and tearful reunions, but I stood apart, my heart a tangled knot of anticipation and dread. When I saw my family emerge, Mom's tired eyes, Dad's slumped shoulders, and Lily trailing behind, her face pale and defiant, I felt the air shift, like the moment before a storm breaks. This was it, the moment we'd either mend or shatter. Mom spotted me first, her face crumpling as she hurried forward and pulled me into a hug. "Emma, thank God," she whispered, her voice thick with relief. Dad joined us, his hand heavy on my shoulder, but Lily hung back, her arms crossed, avoiding my gaze. "I'm sorry I left," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I couldn't take it anymore." Mom nodded, her eyes glistening. "I know, sweetheart. But we're here now. We need to figure this out together." Lily snorted, finally stepping closer. "Figure what out? How Emma ruined my life. You're all acting like I'm some criminal." "Lily," Dad said sharply, "you stole a man's wallet. You blamed your sister. This isn't a game." Her lips trembled, but she jutted her chin out. "It was a mistake, okay? I was going to give it back. Emma didn't have to humiliate me like that." "Humiliate you?" I snapped, the anger flaring again. "You threw me under the bus in front of everyone. You've been doing this for years, lying, manipulating, expecting me to fix it." "I'm done, Lily." Her eyes flashed, but there was something else there. Hurt, maybe, or fear. "You think you're so perfect," she said, her voice breaking. "You've always been the favorite. Mom and Dad never call you out, but I'm the screw-up, right?" "That's not true," Mom said, stepping between us. "We love you both. But Lily, you can't keep doing this. You have to take responsibility." Lily's gaze dropped to the floor, her hands clenching into fists. For a moment, I thought she'd storm off, but she stayed, her silence louder than any argument. Dad cleared his throat. "Let's get to the hotel. We can talk there." The taxi ride was tense, the city's beauty a blur outside the window. At the hotel, we gathered in my suite, the air thick with unspoken words. I sat on the edge of the bed, Lily on a chair by the window, our parents between us like referees. "Lily," I said, breaking the silence, "why did you take that wallet? And why blame me?" She didn't answer right away, her fingers twisting a strand of hair. Finally, she spoke, her voice small. "I don't know. It was impulsive. I saw it there, and I just took it. I didn't think he'd notice." "And blaming me?" I pressed, my voice softer now. She looked up, her eyes wet. I panicked. "You're always so perfect, Emma. I knew they'd believe you over me. I didn't want to be the bad guy again." Her words hit harder than I expected. I'd always seen her as the reckless one, the one who didn't care. But maybe she cared too much about being seen, about measuring up, about escaping the shadow I didn't even know I cast. "Lily," I said, my throat tight, "I'm not perfect. I'm just tired of cleaning up your messes. I love you, but I can't keep doing this." Mom reached for Lily's hand, but she pulled away. "I know I messed up," Lily said, her voice barely audible. "But canceling my ticket? That was cruel, Emma." "Maybe," I admitted. "But letting you get away with everything? That's cruel to me." Dad rubbed his temples. "This isn't about who's right or wrong anymore. We're a family, and we're falling apart. We need to fix this." "How?" Lily asked, her voice raw. "Emma hates me. You and Mom think I'm a failure. What's left?" "You're not a failure," Mom said fiercely. "But you need to change, Lily. And Emma, you need to let go of this anger. We can't move forward if you're both holding on to grudges." The room fell silent, the weight of her words settling over us. I looked at Lily, really looked at her, and saw not just the sister who'd hurt me, but the girl who'd once followed me everywhere, who'd laughed at my dumb jokes, who'd cried when I left for college. She was still there, buried under years of resentment and bad choices. "I don't hate you," I said finally. "But I need you to try, Lily. Really try." She nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. "I'll try," she whispered. "I'm sorry, Emma. It wasn't a fix, not yet. But it was a start." And in that moment, with Paris glowing outside and my family bruised but together, I felt a flicker of hope. The next morning, Paris felt different, less like a dream and more like a mirror, reflecting the cracks in our family we could no longer ignore. Breakfast in the hotel's sunny courtyard was quiet, the clink of coffee cups louder than our words. Lily sat across from me, her eyes red from crying or lack of sleep, maybe both. I wanted to reach out, but the space between us felt like a canyon. Mom broke the silence. We're here for a week. Let's make the most of it. No more fighting. Her voice was firm, but her eyes pleaded for peace. Dad nodded. Agreed. Let's start fresh today. The Louvre, maybe. Lily picked at her croissant, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm in. But can we talk about what happened? I don't want to pretend it didn't. I froze, my coffee cup halfway to my lips. She was right. We couldn't just slap a bandage on this and call it healed. But where to start? Okay, I said, setting my cup down. Let's talk. But honestly this time. Lily looked up, her expression wary but open. I know I messed up. Stealing was stupid, and blaming you was worse. I don't know how to stop screwing things up. Her vulnerability caught me off guard. Lily was always bravado and deflection, but this felt raw, real. Why do you feel like you're screwing up? I asked, leaning forward. What's going on with you? She hesitated, glancing at Mom and Dad, who watched her like she might bolt. I feel like I'm always chasing you, she said finally. You've got your perfect job, your perfect life. I'm just me. I don't even know who that is. Her words stung, not because they were cruel, but because they were true. I'd built a life I was proud of, marketing manager, stable apartment, good friends, but I'd never considered how it looked to her. To me, Lily was the free spirit, the one who could charm anyone. But maybe to her, I was a standard she couldn't meet. I'm not perfect, I said, my voice soft. I work hard because I'm scared of failing. And I've been so busy trying to keep you from falling, I didn't see how much you were struggling. Mom reached for Lily's hand again, and this time, she let her take it. We haven't been fair to either of you, Mom said. We leaned on Emma to be the responsible one, and we let you slide, Lily. That wasn't right. Dad nodded, his voice gruff. We thought we were protecting you, Lily, but we were wrong. You need to face consequences, and Emma shouldn't have to carry them for you. Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't look away. I don't know how to fix this, she said. But I want to. I want to be better. The sincerity in her voice cracked something open in me. I'd spent so long seeing her as the problem, I'd forgotten she was also my sister. The one who'd once drawn me a birthday card with glitter that got everywhere, who'd stayed up with me watching scary movies when I was homesick. Maybe we could find that again. Then let's start small, I said. No more lies. No more blaming. And if you mess up, own it. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Deal. And I'm sorry, Emma. Really. I reached across the table, squeezing her hand. I'm sorry too. Canceling your ticket was harsh. I was just done. I deserved it, she said, a small smile breaking through. But don't do it again, okay? We laughed, the sound fragile but real. Mom and Dad exchanged a look, their shoulders relaxing for the first time in days. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. That day, we explored the Louvre, wandering through halls of art that felt like a metaphor for us. Beautiful, complicated, and a little broken. Lily lingered at a painting of two sisters, their faces serene but distant. Think we'll ever be like that? She asked, her voice quiet. Maybe, I said, if we keep trying. The rest of the day passed in a tentative truce. We laughed at Dad's terrible French, took selfies with the Mona Lisa, and shared crepes by the Seine. But the shadow of the airport lingered, a reminder that trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about what Lily had said, about chasing me, about not knowing who she was. I'd been so focused on her mistakes, I hadn't seen her struggle. Maybe this trip wasn't just about healing our family, but about helping her find herself. And maybe, just maybe, I needed to find myself too. The days in Paris unfolded like a fragile truce, each moment a step towards something new, or a stumble back into old wounds. We toured Notre Dame's scaffolding, sipped wine in Montparnasse, and laughed over Dad's insistence on pronouncing croissant like croissant. But beneath the surface, Lily and I were still navigating the fault lines of our relationship, testing the ground to see if it would hold. One afternoon, while Mom and Dad rested at the hotel, Lily and I wandered into a quiet bookshop in the Latin Quarter. The air smelled of old paper and dust, and the shelves were a maze of stories waiting to be told. Lily ran her fingers along the spines, her expression distant. "Remember when we used to read together?" she asked suddenly. "You'd do all the voices, and I'd beg for one more chapter." I smiled, the memory warming me. "You always wanted the scary parts. I had to skip them so you wouldn't have nightmares." She laughed, but it faded quickly. "I miss that, when things were simple." "Me too," I admitted, picking up a worn copy of The Little Prince. "But we're not kids anymore. We can't just pretend everything's okay." She nodded, her eyes fixed on the book in my hands. "I know. I'm trying, Emma. I really am. But it's hard. I don't know how to be good." Her honesty disarmed me. "You don't have to be good," I said. "Just be you. The real you. Not the one who hides behind lies or steals to feel something." She looked away, her voice barely audible. What if the real me isn't enough? The question hung there, raw and heavy. I wanted to tell her she was enough, that she didn't need to chase thrills or approval. But words alone wouldn't fix this. She needed to believe it herself. "Then we'll figure it out together," I said finally. "But you have to meet me halfway." She nodded, a small spark of determination in her eyes. "Okay, I'll try." That evening, we joined Mom and Dad for dinner at a bistro overlooking the Seine. The city glowed under a twilight sky, and for a moment, we felt like a family again, imperfect, but trying. Lily even cracked a joke about Dad's pronunciation, and we all laughed, the sound carrying over the water. But the peace was fragile. The next day, as we strolled through the Tuileries garden, Lily's phone buzzed with a text. Her face paled as she read it, and she shoved the phone into her pocket. "What's wrong?" I asked, my stomach tightening. "Nothing," she said too quickly, her old defensiveness creeping back. "Just a friend." I didn't believe her, but I didn't push. Not yet. The rest of the day, she was quieter, her laughter forced. I caught Mom watching her, worry etched into her face, and I knew we were all holding our breath, waiting for the next crack. That night, back at the hotel, I overheard Lily on the phone in her room, her voice low and urgent. I said I'd pay you back, okay? Just give me time. My heart sank. Was she in trouble again? Dead? Something worse? I knocked on her door, and she flinched, ending the call abruptly. "What do you want?" she asked, her tone sharp. "Who was that?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. "Lily, if you're in trouble, tell me." "I'm not," she snapped, but her eyes betrayed her. "Just leave it alone, Emma." I wanted to press, to demand answers, but Mom's words echoed in my mind. "We can't move forward if you're both holding on to grudges." I took a deep breath. "Okay, but I'm here if you need me." She didn't respond, just turned away, her shoulders hunched. I left her room, my heart heavy. We'd made progress, but trust was a fragile thing, and Lily was still hiding something. The next morning, as we packed for a day trip to Versailles, I found a crumpled receipt in the trash, $200 withdrawn from an ATM, dated yesterday. Lily didn't have that kind of money. Was she stealing again? Borrowing? Or was this something deeper, something I couldn't fix? As we boarded the train, I watched her, her face pressed against the window, lost in thought. I wanted to believe she could change, that we could rebuild what we'd lost. But doubt gnawed at me, and I wondered if Paris was just a beautiful pause before the next storm. Versailles was a golden blur of opulence, its gardens stretching endlessly under a clear sky, but my mind was elsewhere. That evening, back in Paris, I confronted her. We were alone in the hotel suite, Mom and Dad out for a late walk. Lily was curled up on the couch, scrolling through her phone, when I sat across from her, holding the crumpled receipt. "Lily," I said, my voice steady, "what's this?" Her eyes widened, but she recovered quickly, her tone defensive. "Why are you digging through the trash, Emma? That's creepy." "Stop it," I said, leaning forward. "I heard you on the phone last night. You're in trouble, aren't you? Tell me the truth." She hesitated, her fingers tightening around her phone. For a moment, I thought she'd lie again, but then her shoulders slumped, and she looked away. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice small. "I owe someone money. From before." Before what? I pressed, my heart sinking. Before this trip, she admitted. I got into some stupid stuff back home, borrowing money from the wrong people. I thought I could handle it, but they're not patient. My stomach churned. How much do you owe? 5,000, she whispered, her eyes glistening. I was going to pay it back with my savings, but I don't have enough. Why didn't you tell us? I asked, my voice softer now. We could have helped. Because I'm ashamed, she said, tears spilling over. I didn't want you to think I'm a failure again. And after the airport, I knew you'd never trust me. Her words hit like a wave, washing away my anger. I saw her now, not just the reckless sister who'd hurt me, but a young woman drowning in her own mistakes, too scared to ask for help. I moved to the couch, sitting beside her. Lily, I said, I don't think you're a failure, but you can't keep hiding things. We're family. We're supposed to help each other. She nodded, wiping her face. I'm scared, Emma. I don't know how to fix this. We'll figure it out, I said, squeezing her hand. But you have to be honest. No more secrets. She agreed, and that night, we told Mom and Dad everything. Their faces fell, but they didn't yell or judge. Instead, they promised to help Lily pay off the debt, with the condition that she start therapy when we got home. You need to understand why you keep doing this, Mom said gently, and we'll be there every step. The rest of the trip was quieter, more honest. We visited the Eiffel Tower, shared stories over wine, and laughed without the weight of secrets. Lily wasn't fixed, none of us were, but she was trying. She opened up about her fears, her need to prove herself, and I listened, really listened, for the first time in years. On our last day, as we stood on a bridge over the Seine, Lily turned to me. Thank you, she said, her voice steady, for not giving up on me. I never will, I said, pulling her into a hug. But you've got to meet me halfway. She nodded, and for the first time, I believed she would. Back home, things weren't perfect. Lily started therapy, and there were setbacks, moments of frustration, old habits creeping in. But there were also steps forward. She got a job, started paying off her debt, and apologized when she slipped up. I learned to let go of my need to fix her, to trust her to find her own way. The airport incident became a story we told with a mix of laughter and regret, a reminder of how close we came to losing each other. Paris didn't heal us. It showed us the work we needed to do. And for the first time, we were doing it together, not as a perfect family, but as one willing to try. As I watched Lily grow, I realized something else. I'd been carrying my own burdens, resentment, fear of failing her, fear of failing myself. Letting go of that wasn't easy, but it was freeing. We were sisters, flawed and human, and that was enough.